There are three. Actually, there's 6 versions of the law of cosines.
Yeah.
You need to know one so you can figure out everything else.
This is the one that's like
You're right.
Write it out.
yeah, I know. Yeah, that's such good memory.
And page 530. Yeah. I forgot to assign a couple of those problems on 530 because we got farther on Friday than I anticipated. And so I didn't, it was like normally it was, originally for me, it was 2 sections of homework because we were going to do it in 2 days. And then you guys busted through it, so I forgot to assign a little bit of word problems for practice. The word problems are the hardest part, so you need to practice them. There are 6 versions of the law of cosines. 6. You only need to know one because guess what? You can derive the rest.
Yeah.
Give it to me. What do we got?
A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A.
Whoa. Out of 4.
Very much.
A, B, C are sides. And then alpha is the angle. A, B, C are sides and alpha is the angle. It's the only one you need to know because there are 2 variations of this. There are 2 variations. So if I start with B squared, what am I going to get?
A squared plus b squared minus 2ac cosine b.
What congruency, I can't think of the word, theorem or instance, will you use law of cosines? Side, side, side. And which other one? Side, angle, side. Side, 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 and side, angle, side.
Okay, how do you do it with side, side, side? You need. Oh, never mind. No, you stop there.
Yes, and that's next. You beat me to it. Thanks, Sam. Angle. How do you solve for the angle? By the way, okay, I'm not going to do it. There's another variation. The c squared, a squared, b squared, minus blah, 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 blah. They're all variations. But there is a formula specifically for finding the measure of the angle. You can do it here. How many angles do you know in side, side, side? None. But you can find them. Side, side, side. You don't know any angles. 3 sides, no angle. Okay. So I could plug in straight here. I could plug in A, B, C, da, da, and then find the cosine of beta. Agreed?
Yeah.
Give me the formula to find beta or alpha. Or that's supposed to be an alpha. Give me the formula to find beta or alpha or gamma or whatever. Manipulate. All comes from the law of cosines, like the whatever, the original one. Solve. Solve for alpha or beta or gamma, whichever one you want.
So angle A.
Oh.
Same process. If you're going to solve for an angle, it doesn't matter which one, the process is the same. Beta, alpha, gamma, which one are you going to give me? All right, thank you, Glenda. You want to want to try?
Okay. The inverse cosine of quantity a squared minus b squared minus c squared
Okay.
divided by 2bc.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, so your variables are correct and your squares are correct. I think we have some sign mistakes, negative, positive mistakes. Rue?
You could include the negative in the denominator, or you could just make it negative a squared plus b squared plus c squared.
So, couldn't hear Rue. She said you could leave the negative in the denominator. Or you could write it as divide everything by -1. So you get b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc.
Isn't that to divide by negative 2bc?
If I divide it by -2bc, I'm going to have 4. I'm taking everything and dividing it by, this is the same thing as,
I got the second one, but the denominator was negative, and then I
It's a different way, right?
so let's solve, you did alpha. Okay, so there's a question about the signs. What's negative, what's positive, whatever. So if I want to solve for alpha, what should I do first? Subtract.
C squared, C squared.
Okay, subtract b squared and c squared, which is what you have here. Okay, keep going. I want to solve for alpha. Divide by -2bc. So everything's divided by -2, so people are confused about.
I made a mistake.
Excellent. This is the same thing as -1 times 2. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
So now divide everything by -1. So it becomes -a squared, which I don't want to lead with -a squared. So I'm going to lead with positive b squared, positive c squared, -a squared 2bc. And then if I want to find the angle, I need to do an inverse. If I want to find the angle, I need to do an inverse. There's 2 more variations of this with alpha, beta, gamma, whatever. All I need to know is one of them. A squared equals b squared, blah, blah. All you need to know is one, and the rest of them can come from there. Do you need to know the inverses? I think it's helpful, so you don't mess up your algebra along the way, but whatever. Okay, let's solve a triangle using law of cosines. Solve, find all the missing angles by all the missing sides. I need a name for this triangle. Oh, it's side angle side. I want to give me like some letters. That's an 8. No, we did dog already.
Dow.
How about ABC? Do hot.
So I like all those except let's try to avoid O because O and 0 look the same, and let's try to avoid I as well.
Hat.
Act.
No,
Hat.
A hat. Okay, we'll do hat.
I thought about that as well.
Hat is good. Okay, so what situation is this? You already told me. Side angle side. This is side angle side. Can I use the law of sines?
Yes.
No.
Yeah,
Law of sines requires that you know an angle and its opposite side. Okay. We know an angle, but we don't know its opposite side. We don't know an angle and an opposite side for any of them. You can't use law of sines.
Oh,
Could you throw a bisector?
Why? You know the law of cosines. Throwing in a bisector while probably could be done. You can go for it, Ethan. And when I say, okay, you guys, you have 5 minutes left, and you're still trying to draw in the bisector, you're really going to do it?
sure.
Okay, go for it. Ethan's going to drop a perpendicular. But you can't, how do you know it's a bisector? Wait. Drop a perpendicular, an altitude.
Yes.
Ethan's going to draw in an altitude, and then he's going to do Pythagorean theorem and all kinds of stuff. Go ahead. Let's do law of cosines and see who finishes first. It's a contest. What are you going to find first, by the way?
Side H.
Side H. We're finding side H. Set it up. Compare with your neighbor. Yeah, Ashwin.
Is that the angle alpha? Is that the side alpha? In the, for the law of cosine equation.
Okay, for the law of cosine equation.
Yeah, use the angle alpha, the side A.
Correct.
Oh, so the angle is connected to what's on the left side of the equation.
Correct. No calculator, no answer. Nearest 10th, but stored. Nearest 10th, store. Okay, let's make sure you understand what I do. What are you going to do on the test or the quiz when I decide to be fun?
Just for the word. Is that, are you allowed to do that?
Sure.
Then an answer.
Sure. Man, what's wrong with HAT? I was thinking I would do one triangle POR and the other triangle TIA. And then you'd have portion, 2 triangles, and then you'd think it was case. Would that not be totally cute? Katie!
There's an O and an I.
You're right, but there's an O and an I, which I told you to avoid. Yes. You are correct, Lauren.
That's
What's wrong
one.
with O's and
What's wrong with O's and I's? O's tend to look like zeros, depending on how you write. I's, if you use capital I, not so bad, but lowercase I, Set me up! What do we got? H squared equals 6 squared plus 10 squared. Keep going.
Minus 2 times 6 times 10.
Yep.
Goes
Okay, this is seriously a straight plug and chug. It's a straight plug and chug. What do we got there? 136 minus 120. Let's store it. I'm thinking 24.7 degrees. Don't forget the degree symbol. Yes.
You square.
Whatever. You guys are so picky. It's not heart surgery. For 5.0. You made the point 0. If you round,
It's not.
it's
Oh, yeah,
4.9737247006,
4.97 is the phone number.
which is 5.0 to the nearest 10. Okay, so I said it, you may not have heard, but that's one of the biggest issues is following directions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to store this for myself personally. I'm going to store this in H. That way when I go back to it, 100%, a lot of you are just going to use A, B, C, and that's fine, but I'm going to store this, I got to find H. There it is. Okay. Yeah? Okay. Heads up. Ms. Babiak, can I use law of sines now? I know an angle and its opposite side. Can I use law of sines?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What do you want to find next? Do you want to find angle A or angle T?
T.
Oh, I heard them both. We'll go for T. It's a little different. You guys always go for the A. Haha, no pun intended. T. So here's what's going to happen. Heads up. Okay? Here's what's going to happen. You said T. Some of you said T. Some of you said A. Fine. Law of sines. There's no disagreement that the actual mathematics is not as hard. I mean, the computation's not as difficult. A few keystrokes on your calculator. Why would you want to use law of cosines when you could use law of sines? And I would agree with that to a certain extent. I would agree with it to the extent that it's going to give me improper calculations. Okay, so we just found out that H was 5.0, which is in our calculator, so it's not really 5.0. I'm sorry, what did you say you wanted to find? T? Okay.
You're supposed to.
Okay. Ms. Babiak, we also know side A. I'm not using side A right now because it's not needed for the calculations that you want to use. I'm going to do law of sines. I don't need A. So I'm going to say, okay, the sine of 22 over 5.0, again, in my calculator, is equal to the sine of t over 10. Would you agree with that? So do I need side A for these calculations? Okay, you've created the ask case. How many triangles did I give you? I gave you one. And it's a side, what was it, side angle side? Side angle side, law of cosines. One triangle, it's given to you. So there's one triangle for this problem. You've created two. Gentlemen, stop. You've created two. This is the side angle case. So when you choose to take the shortcut from law of cosines, which only allows one triangle, there's no ambiguous with the law of cosines. So when you've chosen to say law of cosines, I'm going to shortcut it, two triangles might occur. And in this case, they do. So how do you know which one's right? Use the law of cosines from the get-go, and you won't have this issue. Let's do law of sines, and let me show you what's going to happen, okay? Ms. Babiak, I don't want to do law of cosines again. I want to do law of sines. That's what I'm doing, and I'm showing you this is not a good route to go. Do you have a question, Josh?
So is there no way to find out which triangle is?
No, there is only one triangle. That's it.
But
Period.
If you were to go down,
I'm going to show you right now.
I thought sometimes there's like two stuff.
Mm-mm. Only when you were given the ambiguous case to start off with. That's not the ambiguous case.
How do you know?
Because it's not the ask case. It's not angle side side. It's not angle side side. This is angle side side, which you created in the solve. Because this is why it happens. Because you've chosen to shortcut it from the law of cosines, which always works. One triangle, not ambiguous. But you decided, whoever, you want to shortcut it to the law of sines. You're going to do this, and it's going to be two triangles. And it can't be, because you started with side angle side. Is that the ask case to start with? One triangle, boom, move
Well,
on.
like, it still is the ask case after you do it.
But that's what I'm saying. Now within the problem, it's been created,
Yeah.
which is an
It's
issue.
created.
So
Can't
I'm
just
showing
do
you
it.
this is why you should not use the law of sines, because of the potential issue that's going to happen.
Because you don't use the side.
Because you don't use the side, whatever it was, 6.
You just keep on plugging in a lot of cosines.
That's what I would do, but let's finish this one. So you decide, great, shortcut, less work, I just want to find angle T, law of sines, move on. So Sam, you're confused. This was not given to you.
Yeah.
But based on the shortcut of going from law of cosines to the law of sines, that might pose a problem.
But like, if you're given it originally and sometimes you solve for it and it works, like what doesn't work? Like,
Let's do it.
like I get that it will be ambiguous. Like I did it and it was ambiguous, but
Don't do it. That's my point. Straight
so
law
when we-
cosines.
and you're giving us a problem that's ambiguous.
You have to do it this way if it's ambiguous.
So you're saying
Yes.
okay.
Yes. I'm speaking in circles. Yes, you are correct.
Okay.
It is ambiguous when you do it, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what you got for angle T, if you remember?
48.9.
That was the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, but you can know which one's correct.
Well, you can't. But why do all the work? Just do law of cosines and you don't have to figure it out. You can figure it out based on the triangle inequality theorem, or the theorem that says largest angle, longest side, smallest angle, shortest side. What else could angle T be? 131 point what? It can't be 0.5.
Is it 48.9? 48.9.
So 131.1. Does that fit the triangle?
Yeah.
Yeah. That fits in a triangle. So how do you know which one's right? Okay, first of all, you don't do the law of sines at all to begin with. Or how do you figure out which one's right? So this was 10, what was this side? 6. And then this side was, help me out, what's that angle?
6.9.
Oh. This fits triangle, and this fits the, hold on, this fits largest angle, longest side, smallest angle, smallest side, in between angle, in between side. They both work. How do you know? Josh, you have a question?
The other one does work.
The other
Yeah,
one.
another.
The other one doesn't work.
Would there ever be a case where it
No.
doesn't pass that test
No.
as well?
No,
So that's how you tell.
correct. Or just do the law of cosines. See all this extra work? And we could have just done the law of cosines and then finished like 5 minutes ago. This one doesn't work because, wait, help me out. This is 6.
The angle is 100.
How much is it?
It's 100.
How much is this one?
It's just more than the angle for 10.
I used 50 for the 48.9.
Okay, so ish, what is it?
108.
Thank you. It can't work
So why?
because largest angle, longest side. 6 is not the longest side. Just do the law of cosine. Look, Daddy, I don't want to. Okay, then go through the whole process, and that's up to you. If that's how you want to do it, feel free. But I'm telling you, don't do it. I would say most of the time, I've got good ideas about things, and in this case, I would say, oh, are you done?
So I got 9.
Ethan's done because it took so long.
No, I know. I did not. I'm not done because I got 9.2 on the. I threw the bisector count and I got 9.2.
I can help with that. Because I was doing it too.
Yeah, so you just have to draw it so the bottom line goes past the point of T. And so there's your right angle and there's a line back here, which is, I don't know how to do it. I have a picture here. It's like, there you go.
Pass your notebook to Ethan so he can look,
Yes.
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so in reality, which one did we find? Did we find A or T?
9.7.
T.
Oh.
Yeah. It works to do it like that.
Y'all, it is a little bit easier.
What do you get? We already determined. What was it? 131?
Oh, yeah.
How do you calculate the angle figure with
How do you get this?
like which angle are you
I decided to find, you guys wanted to find t. So the other two sides have to go to the denominator. Josh. So I'm finding t. That means side A and h go in the denominator. And then h squared plus a squared comes from here. And that's subtract t squared. So if I have triangle POR, and I want to find the measure of angle P, that's the inverse cosine of O squared plus R squared minus P squared over 2OR. The other two sides, so what two sides aren't included with P? O and R. O and R. And then the subtraction of the
Would T be lowered? In there, that T should be lowered because that's one of the sides, not.
Sure.
Oh, just checking.
I did it because I didn't want.
I'll just put it back.
Okay, so I'm sorry. What was angle T? 131.1.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You don't need that angle.
I did right here.
T squared is 10, right? T squared is 10.
T squared.
T squared lowercase t is the side.
T is 10.
Yeah. What are you yes. Wait.
Yeah.
The measure of angle T is the inverse cosine of 5 squared plus 6 squared minus 10 squared over 2 times 5 times 6. Yes? Can you subtract from 180? Sure. I caution those of you who use the law of sines as a shortcut. Like if you did the law of sines straight out, you would have said, I guarantee you if you did the law of sines straight out, you would have said the angle was 48.92. You don't pay attention. It's impossible. And I'm saying that when people do the problem, they don't pay attention. They regurgitate it onto their calculator and they say that's the answer. All right, so what's the final angle? Ishika, what is it?
26.9.
Why does the law of cosines always work? Why does the law of cosines always work, but yet the law of sines, you got to be careful of that whole ambiguous case. Whatever day it was. Friday, I don't know what day it was. And I asked you, what's the inverse sine of 0.9 or whatever? So tell me what the inverse sine is of 0.9. What's the inverse sine of 0.9?
64.16.
10, please.
60. 64.16.
That's not the nearest 10.
Oh, whoops, 64.2.
Okay, there we go. From your calculator, yeah? Okay, and then we said the sign is positive in quadrants 1 and 2. Yes? So then we said, okay, 0.9 in quadrant 2, how do I find the measure of this whole angle? 180 minus 64.2. I have no idea. 115.8. Yeah? Two possible answers? Two possible answers. Sine positive in quadrant 1, positive in quadrant 2, and from 0 all the way over, that's 180. And angles between 0 and 180 fit into a triangle. Agreed? Okay. All right, let's do the cosine of 0.7. Cosine of 0.7. Cosine of 0.7. What's that measure? What's the measure of that angle? Inverse cosine on your calculator, come on.
45.6.
45.6? Okay, so here it is. Just like sine is positive in two places, first and second, cosine is positive in two places, first and fourth.
It's outside.
45.6 reference. So what is the measure of a 45.6 reference in quadrant 2? Sorry, 4.
314.4.
314 point what?
4.
Thank you. What's wrong with that?
No, and
Doesn't fit in a triangle. Sine, positive, 1 and 2, 0 to 180, potentially fits. Cosine, 1 and 4. Cosine, 1 and 4. A quadrant 4 angle does not fit in a triangle. Yes, Rue?
What's the situation if you're doing like inverse sine of something and you get something that's in the fourth quadrant, since inverse sine can be inverse over 4?
If the inverse sign is negative, no such thing as there's no such thing as a negative sign in a triangle. Doesn't happen. Make sense? So if I ask you the inverse sign of negative 1/2, and you say it's negative pi over 6, well, you can't have a sign of negative 1/2 in a triangle. It doesn't exist.
It's just the
Yeah. Yeah, Ashwin.
So that means all angles have to be basically from 0 to pi, right? Because
Yep,
you can't go more than one.
exactly right. All right, book, let's do a word problem. Let's do a word problem. Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't.
All right, let's do page 539, 46. Okay, if there's a problem about Chicago, you're either going to do it for homework or it's going to be on your test, or I'm going to do it in class. But any problem that relates to Chicago is going to show up. I'm just letting you know. So when you're reviewing and you see, oh, here's a Chicago problem, I better make sure I know how to do it. Let's draw a picture first. Draw a picture. I believe I told you in your homework that you needed to. All right, I'm going to use C for Chicago. I'm going to use L for Louisville. And I'm going to use E for error.
Or you should do A's to make count.
No, I'm talking about Chicago. Well, I could do CHI. But then it involves the whole I thing.
Sure.
All right, we have, in attempting to fly from Chicago to Louisville, a distance of 330 miles, a pilot inadvertently took a course that was 10 degrees in error, as indicated in the picture. Great? Good? All right. If the aircraft maintains an average speed of 220 miles per hour, and if the error in direction is discovered after 15 minutes, through what angle should the pilot turn to head toward Louisville? Okay. Average speed is how much? All right, and then I think it says we've been flying for 15 minutes. I think that's what it says. All right. What can I find? Rue?
You can find side L by doing 220 times 0.25.
I'm sorry, where did 0.25 come from?
Because 15 is a fourth of an hour.
There you go. Distance equals rate times time. Here's your rate, which you're talking about miles per hour. So it's 15 over 60. Your rate, 220 miles an hour, times your distance. I'm sorry, the time, time. That's 1/4. What's 220 times 1/4?
55.
All right. Now what? They want to know what angle should I turn, or should the pilot turn? So I'm looking for, right, my error, how much I'm going to correct. What should I do?
You could find side L.
I could find side L.
Oh, no, side C, sorry.
I could find side C, yeah. I could find side C, side, angle, side. I could find side C. Okay. I'm good with that. Why do I need side C? I do. Why do I need side C?
Because you can do inverse cosine and find the other thing.
Because you need an included angle.
Okay, I need an included angle. Yep, all those things are right. Go for it. What do you get? 276.0? Yeah? Okay, store it.
Is it, no.
Can use the law of science if you want to shortcut it.
No. Don't do it.
Although you don't really need angle L. Oh, well. Yeah, you could, because you could do sine of 10 over 276 equals the sine of LEC over 330. I think I should do if it were me.
You'd have to do the thing.
I just do law of cosines. So now I have side, angle, side. I'm looking for my angle. Side, angle, side, and I'll subtract from 180. So angle E, which is angle LEC. I think I set that up right, not positive. It's hard to change the letters in your head. $168. So this is 168.0. So our error detection is 12.0. Okay, last part, squeeze it in. What new average speed should the pilot maintain so that the total time of the trip is 90 minutes? What new speed so that the total time of the trip is 90 minutes? You want the time of the trip to be 90 minutes. So we want to know how fast, right? Distance equals rate times time. $90 minutes, 1.5 hours. Yeah.
Is this first road trip counting the 15 minutes they've already traveled, or is
Yeah.
it just the trip?
So the total time of the trip. So I would imagine that, yeah, that includes the 15 minutes, I would imagine. So that should be 75. $15 minutes are gone. So help me out. 75 minutes, 1.25 hours. What's the distance?
C.
276.
276. $220.8 miles per hour. What? It is, but it's not going far. Right, when you're going 15 miles, you're not going to go 800 miles an hour, yeah? You have 2 assignments to turn in to me. Page something, and then page 530.
Oh, 519.
519 and 530. Put them both on your desks.
Was this the one that you made?
I have your test graded, but I have not been able to get into Aries. So if you want to come in at lunch to see your test,
No,
you are more than welcome to do so.
I think can I go to different?
I don't know, then I can get on to Aries. Like all the issues.
Oh, can you like that?
Drive through and run.
How do you pay for
There are 2 assignments. On my desk. Lady Gaga. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can totally vouch for myself. This is the house.
Annabelle, Rue. Thank you.
That's my plan. Lauren,
We're still going to be on.
are you coming?
Thank you.
All right, you guys.